Well, well, well. Look who's back in town. Look who's back in the saddle, baby. It is your host, Mr. Rob D. You can follow me on Twitter at RobD_94. With me is my co-host of Chainsaw Crew, Mr. Josh Hill. Josh, buddy, it has been a minute. We text all the time, but we haven't gotten to actually get on Zoom and like chop it up. We were supposed to a few weeks ago. Some stuff happened. I literally was sat down, had to cancel, and here we are, man. How are you?
Doing good, dude. How are you? It felt good for like the first time in a long time. It wasn't me bailing on you because of some kid issue or something. So we're here. We finally made it. It may have taken a lot longer than what we wanted to, but man, we're here and we are in the thick of some crazy Oregon State baseball also.
We are, man, and thank you for asking. I am well. I know there's been a lot going on with you. There was a certain accident that happened a while ago. You just told me that you were cleared for physical activity again. It sounds like. Thank you God for cortisone shots. Apparently, so like, tell
Yeah,
the people a little bit of that process of getting a cortisone shot because it's can chill your spine a little bit.
it's a nasty experience and I feel bad. We were talking about it just a few seconds ago about these athletes that get it, but it's a nasty needle that unfortunately where my herniated disc was had to go probably really too close to my spine, and feeling the needle go into your back and down towards your spine is an unreal experience. So I it was a one and done deal thing for me. So hopefully I'm not having to get it again, but I feel bad for these fellas and gals that have to get it more than once because my Lord, that is a very unpleasant experience.
I couldn't imagine, man. And it's so funny because I literally just told you this. I like you hear about like baseball players, any type of athlete really. They're like, oh yeah, he's gonna go in and get a cortisone shot. He'll be back in a week. And you're just like, oh, it sounds like no big deal. But like, dog, that is excruciating. The needle just going all the way and like needing a bunch of numbing cream to get through it because it's probably just straight uncomfortable through your nerves. Oh, dude. Shout out to those athletes. Shout out to you, Josh, for going through it. You're an athlete too.
I'm an
being a,
athlete.
being a
Who
dad is an
knew?
athlete. Yeah.
Who knew?
But you know what else is no big deal? Apparently, no big deal is getting swept in 4 games against your cross state rival and then losing game one of your regional against St. Mary's and then just, turning it around, outscoring your opponents 50-6. Apparently, that's no big deal. The Beaver baseball team is moving on to a super regional. Now, we typically aren't really a baseball podcast. We pretty much stick with the football stuff, but this is a big occasion. And just like last season, the Beavs going to Kentucky, things didn't go their way. Traveling all the way across the country is difficult, per se, for Florida State. It is difficult to get all the way over here, man. Josh, man, how are you feeling about this baseball team this season? It's been a super odd season, just not a lot of home games, super weird opponents. How are you feeling about this season? Has it been a success? And what are you looking forward to most in the super regional?
I'll premise this with I've been very silent on Twitter, and there's lots of reasons behind that, and I'm slowly starting to kind of work my way out of the forest or the woods, whatever you want to call it. And I pick an interesting time to do so. This Oregon State team, I tweeted it in my return a few days ago that this team's been so up and down, and we've seen it the whole season. A baseball season that I don't know what kind of just like the football season. Like I just didn't know what we were going to get. Kind of a weird schedule. You're going on the roads, felt like 10, 12 times in a row, having these road games, and then you're coming home for these long home series. And there's just a lot of up and down. You get this Oregon State baseball team that feels like they can't do anything to win a game. And then you get this team that you saw the last few days that looks like the top team in the country right now. And I dare anybody to come up and square up against them, but you're seeing the good side of the pitching staff also, like you saw the last couple of days. So I guess I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know what I was necessarily expecting. I think I'm happy with what we got right now. Was I concerned after we lost to St. Mary's? Yes. Is that a game you should lose? Absolutely not. But this team's different, man. They're built different with their backs against the wall. This team goes out and they dominate baseball teams. And talk about getting swept by Oregon. Where's Oregon right now? Do you
Stay
know
at
that
home,
answer?
bruh.
Yeah, with their
Cabo.
with their softball team too. So,
mm.
I don't I'm happy to see what happens in this Florida State series. I'm excited, just like all of us should be, that Florida State's coming here. Goss was electric, man. And I know you have that further down in the notes, but I'm gonna talk about it right now, man. Watching that game on television, these games, unreal. That place is unreal. And shout out to the guy standing behind home plate, stacking those beer
Dude,
cans.
electric. So electric.
Absolute
Incredible.
legend. I don't know if you listen to this podcast, probably not, but my God, dude, if you do, hit us up and we'll get you on here. Holy smokes.
Legend. It was awesome.
But but yeah, man, talk about big time baseball. Here we are. Beavs are in the super regional. Beginning of the year didn't know how far. I just I didn't know if they had enough to get out of a super regional. And here they are with a great chance if they play like they've done this last week, man. They have a chance to go do something stupid. And I like saying that, and I say it all the time with the football team because Oregon State is just, man, they're just different. And that's the only thing I can think of. The word is just different, man. They play at another level when they have an opportunity to do so.
Especially, dude, in this history of this baseball program, with their backs against the wall, they always rise to the occasion. It feels like last year they struggled a little bit in that aspect, especially when they went on the road to Kentucky. It felt like that environment kind of got to them. You know, Nelson Keljo not covering the plate, Travis Bazzana not really having a major impact until late into the last game of that series, and it just it was a tough draw last year for this baseball team. And then this year they just drive through the entire season, 19 home games. They're just ripping through, trying their absolute best to stay atop that top 10 in the RPI, and they do a pretty good job. And yeah, the argument from the other side, from the non-Beavers, is that well, they haven't played anybody all year, and the teams that they have played, they've lost to, including Oregon. But then, you know, there's the other side of that. In the midweek against UCLA on the road, they won that game. UC Irvine, they won that series. Cal Poly ends up being a pretty good baseball team this year. They fight tooth and nail in the Eugene Regional and almost win it against Arizona. They make it hard. They were a good team. Oregon State also had a battle with them this season. It's been a weird season. You have to rattle off all these teams they've played. You're like, okay, they've done Cal State Northridge. That's an odd road series. They did Cal Poly. They did UC Irvine, and then the midweek against UCLA. Oh, they played Nebraska and Iowa. You're just like it's been absolutely dreadful for the travel, man. I can't believe that this team has been this resilient. It's been extremely impressive the entire season, and they've had their ups and downs, like you mentioned, and it's been so crazy. But I think the most encouraging thing throughout this entire season, even after that really tough stretch, after they lost four in a row to Oregon, there's a lot of folks in this fan base, including myself, that are like, I don't know if this is the direction I want to go in for Beaver baseball. This independent thing's starting to become really weird. We're not winning against our rival. But then the second inning in game 6 against USC, brother, Bunch Vallis is back, dude. It felt like out of nowhere, Mitch Canham and the boys are like, we're going to drop down a safety squeeze after safety squeeze after safety squeeze. We're going to keep on doing it until they stop it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Let me run down the line here, okay? Wilson Weber, leadoff single. Trent Caraway, infield single. So we got first and second, nobody out. AJ Singer, sacrifice bunt. Okay, now we move both runners up, second and third. Okay, Reeder, bunt single to third. It was really a safety squeeze. Macias, sacrifice into a fielder's choice. Another kind of a safety squeeze because Caraway scored on that. And then Peterson singles to center. Easton Talt, sacrifice bunt. I mean, it's just been, that was an incredible inning because in the Canham era, we've kind of gotten used to, well, it feels like this is long ball or no ball for this ball team. And it's been a little bit of that conversation of is he developing them like a minor league team? Like, are they just trying to go up there and have long at bats, being patient, and then when they get their pitch, get their cookie, like swing hard and hit the ball to the ballpark? But then you see that against USC when it, you know, backs against the wall, got to win this game. They do the little things extremely well at that point too. When you, it's pretty rare for a team to who doesn't bunt all year to, hey, we're going to ask you to do this multiple times in one inning, and it went so well. Typically, that does not happen. That's not the case, and it's just that was such a refreshing thing to see for Oregon State baseball in 2025 to say we can still beat you like that, and we can also mash the absolute crap out of the ball and just catch fire. Dude, Trent Caraway, what a year for this guy. I mean, there's a lot of Beaver fans, and again, myself included, and I bet you're even thinking it. In the middle of the season, when he's not hitting and he starts to have some defensive woes, it's Josh, buddy, it might be time to bench the kid, right? Because it just gets to that point.
But here's the thing, and I texted you a couple days about it. I Going back to the Mitch problem. Is it a Mitch problem? Because we're not used to seeing this side of Oregon State baseball. We're coming out, we're gonna put our foot on your throat, and that's it. We're not seeing this up and down team that seems like they're struggling more often than not. And then all of a sudden, it's like Mitch is cashing in receipts the last few days, and he's like, "Hold my beer, watch this side of Oregon State baseball." And we talk about what the potential of this Oregon State baseball team, right? You got Florida State coming in. Florida State Seminoles, who knows? I don't know. They don't care who they're playing.
The
They,
chop's coming in, baby. The chop.
but just like any baseball team, there has to be an identity, Rob. And right now, what is that identity for this Oregon State baseball team?
Dude, that's the beauty of this Oregon State baseball team right now is their identity is three different things.
Yeah.
And they're doing three different things so well. All of a sudden, I mean, after the St. Mary's game, flip a switch was flipped. They just completely just upside down. We're doing this thing over, and they just hit a button, man. It was crazy how they just came out against TCU completely locked in because you can tell in game one against St. Mary's, they definitely overlooked them. They were not locked in. Eric Segura's all over the place, and then the offense kind of sputters to start the game, and you're like, and I thought the way that St. Mary's started that game was just poetic. Nick Madrigal's cousin is on base, and they
Yes.
bunt him over. I'm like,
Yes.
you got to be kidding me. By the way, that kid, Eddie Madrigal, is in the portal, and a lot
Hey,
of people say that's a lock to come on up to
yo.
Corvallis, brother. Also, USC's ace is also in the portal. Dude, the portal is crazy. We'll talk about that stuff later, but I thought it was very fitting how St. Mary started that game, set the tone, got a big inning, and off they went. And it at that point, man, after that game, I know Oregon State clawed back a little bit, and Caraway did homer in that game, which was a sign of things to come for him. It was like, are we really about to go two and barbecue in our own dang regional when it was, possibly a controversial conversation about did Oregon State really deserve the eighth seed? And when they go 0-1, everyone who doubted it was like, see, they don't deserve it. It was like, it was a perfect storm. And then things come around, dude. And now Florida State's coming into Corvallis. This baseball program is very well storied. They have a ton of NCAA tournament appearances. I believe they're second all time. They've been to the College World Series, I believe, 24 times. Josh, can you tell me how many rings they have?
Hold on. I'm still thinking.
Yeah, you got to
It's,
carry the one.
it's not coming to me, Rob. Hold
Mm.
on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
there's some cobwebs in that trophy case.
How many?
I believe it's zero,
Oh,
zero.
zero.
The
Wow.
Oregon
Ooh,
logo. They have the
wow.
same amount as the Eugene folks, their trophy case. Yeah, so zero. And they've been to the World Series a lot. I was in Omaha
Ton.
last year. Florida
Yeah.
State was there, dude. The chop, one of the most annoying things in the world. I went to the game where Tennessee came back late and like the check swing game. I was at that game. Dude, the Florida State fans and also the people who were just rooting for Florida State just to do the chop. Oh my goodness. It became the most annoying thing in the world. And when Tennessee took the lead, I was like, all right, Rocky Top. I'm gonna sing Rocky Top tonight because this chop is annoying, dude. It's up there with the Vandy Whistler. I mean, good grief. And these Florida State fans are confident with good reason, man. They have a good squad. They're the ninth overall seed in this tournament, and they have a good team. I see that you attached a little note here from their Knowles 24/7 page on their message board. Apollo Knowles said, it absolutely matters. We are 27-7 at home and 12-6 away. Superhosts have won 61% of the series all time. The Oregon State field is a huge advantage. And then someone replied, Hayes 140 replied, they've played two ranked teams at home all year in UC Irvine and Oregon. They took 2 of 3 from UC Irvine and got beat 8-4 by Oregon. He fails to mention they got swept. They've seen
Come
nothing
on.
like the
Be
starting
honest.
pitching we're sending them. Everyone's tough at home when you play nobody at home. Interesting to think that we're playing nobodies, and also he kind of gives the assumption that Oregon State is still a nobody, which is just hilarious in baseball. But this is okay. This is my thing, man. If Yeah, you do have starting pitching that Oregon State probably will not have seen all season. A lot of good players on this Florida State squad, but to just kind of push to the side that Oregon State is like, oh, they don't play anybody at home. Yeah, dude, they only played 19 home games. You understand how many times they went on the road? We mentioned it earlier. I don't think Florida State really grasps that, and it's a hard thing to do. And I hope they learn that lesson the hard way because this is the first time Florida State has ever played baseball in the state of Oregon. They touched down today. This is the first time they've stepped foot in the state of Oregon to play baseball. And I hope they're about to learn some lessons, man, because Goss is going to get him. Like you mentioned earlier, dude, the Goss crowd during that last stretch of the regional in Corvallis, that's as exciting as it's been for a while now. And that energy is so contagious, dude. And shout out, dude. I know a lot of the Oregon State baseball goers kind of get a hard time because it's typically an older crowd, right? It's kind of the boomer crowd, and they don't really get into games sometimes. But that group who was there and stuck around for game two, for game five and game six, and game two in that day, electric human beings. You guys brought that energy and it made it impossible for USC to even operate. And it's a beautiful thing to see, man. That's what Gosh should be like. Whenever like Beef 3-0 and everybody else who is on Twitter, like always defending Oregon State baseball and saying Goss Stadium is an electric atmosphere, that is the moments we can point to right there to be like, see, we're not just saying that because we're homers. We truly feel that it is a massive home field advantage.
Yeah, and just going back to that post real quick and that message board, like you're still saying that after what just happened this like past weekend. Like, did you not watch anything? Like again, and when you talk about, and there's a lot of people that were not happy about Oregon State getting this 8 seed, right? A lot of people. I could go back on Twitter and read everything for the next 9 hours straight. Every podcast I listen to that, oh, they don't deserve to be the 8 seed. This is a crime. They're stealing this 8 seed. Like, okay, great. That's what you think. Again, we go back. Oregon State's this is the problem. Oregon State's schedule. And that's when we look at the whatever happens this year, however far this team makes it, okay? It's always going to come back to this schedule because it sucked. It sucked. And there's another athletic program coming up here in the spring that has a schedule that sucks just as bad. And it's just this new era of Oregon State and what we have to deal with, unfortunately. But the sky's the limit right now. And I think you probably agree with that. I don't want to speak for you, but I think there's a lot of people right now after this weekend. This was a huge pick me up. It was a huge pick me up for me. And I'm guessing for you too, because I know I texted you a few days ago and we thought USC was going to be the end of it. And if this team can go out, put any amount of stretch of innings together like they did, like I said, man, this team's unbeatable. This team's led by some dudes. If you had to point the finger at right one guy right now, Rob, who's the dude on this Oregon State baseball team?
There's so many guys that contribute to this offense, but I think the guy who really ties it all together every single day and is probably the biggest threat in the lineup every single day is the Brooks Wallace finalist for shortstop, best shortstop in the country, Iva Arquette, dude. I would say, and this might be a little crazy, okay? Don't call me crazy, but it could be
I'm
a little
sipping the
crazy.
juice. I'm sipping the
I
juice.
think he is the purest baseball player to ever wear the Oregon State jersey.
Man,
The way he
just
plays the game is just effortless, man. And he's so long too, and he's tall, and it's not supposed to work like that. You're not supposed to look that smooth at shortstop being that tall. It's like when Troy Tulowitzki was in his prime and not getting hurt. It's just like nobody that tall is supposed to look that good at shortstop. Just slinging it around and fling like it's nothing, dude. He makes all the great plays. He makes the routine plays look even easier. And he gets his first homer in Goss in a regional, which is just crazy that he hadn't homered at home yet, but understandable with the schedule circumstances. But man, dude, if you don't get him out, and then it's Turley, and then it's Weber, and then it just keeps on going, man. This lineup is getting stronger and stronger as the year goes on, and especially with Trent Caraway coming on, dude. It's like it feels like it doesn't really stop, man. That is all the good Oregon State teams have had just pesky and tough, good overall hitting lineups. All of the winning teams have. This lineup currently is firing on all cylinders, dude. And it's all because I believe in Iva Arquette and his decision to come to Oregon State and make a difference. And this is why he's here to win. He's here to win a national championship. And that's why he transferred from Washington. He wasn't going to win one there, that's for sure. They're losing to NAIA schools this year and turning off the lights early. They were never going to do it. This is why you come to Oregon State, man. And I think, dude, this upcoming series is insane because Florida State also on the other side, they also have a Brooks Wallace finalist
Mhm.
and Alex Lodies. Dude, he is a very good player. He's also a Golden Spikes finalist. This guy is arguably going to be the best player on the field. He's up there with Arquette. He's that good. And the Beavers have a very tall task of slowing a lot of guys down for this Florida State squad. They have a pretty quick squad. They like to run a little bit. Williams will probably try to steal some bags. He's also a pretty good hitter. I like our guy behind the plate quite a bit. Wilson Weber, dude, that dude's got a cannon. He is not
Cannon.
afraid to backpick guys. I mean, he is launching it over to first to try to backpick guys quite a bit. And he's so quick with it that a lot of the ESPN broadcasts like aren't picking up him throwing the ball down to first. It's hilarious. Even on, there's one down, it's 0-2, we get a strikeout. He's still firing over there. That's a good time to do it. It's a hard time to guess as a runner if he's actually going to try and backpick you after getting a strikeout. I think Wilson's a little bit ahead of the game, and I think Florida State's going to understand that too. So maybe just the threat of him as a thrower will slow them down. I think that could help a lot. But man, then, like we just mentioned Gavin Turley, and I feel like, dude, with all the greatest Oregon State baseball players there have been, like Gavin Turley is the home run record and RBI record guy. You're just like, if you were to ask anybody who knows college baseball in like 15 years, I feel like they're going to forget that. They'll think about, the guys who came before him before they
Yep.
think about Gavin Turley because Gavin's just done it so quietly the entire time. It's just like he's been hiding behind Travis Bazana in a lineup, and then he's hiding behind like a Garrett Forrester in a lineup, and it's just kind of like, yeah, Turley's really good too. And now he gets his time to shine too. And now it feels like he's a little bit hiding behind Arquette in this lineup too. And you're like, oh, but he's got 50 career homers. He's like, it just happened all of a sudden. You're like, oh, he's the record holder. Oh, he has the most RBIs. He just beat out Michael Conforto. It's like Gavin Turley. He just quietly does his job. He's just like a mouse, dude. He's just quiet in the night. He just gets it done every single time. It's crazy. And like Arquette hits his homer, and it fires everyone up. And then Turley hits one even further, and it's just like, whatever you can do, I can do better, man. He's
Uh,
he's just one of those guys. And dude, Oregon State is very lucky to have a talent like him. And the at bats by everybody, dude, just have been incredible. And I know a lot of Beaver fans have been pretty critical about sometimes the approach of this team has been a little too passive, a little too patient, kind of relying on a good zone from home plate umpires. But when they do get a good, solid, plate zone, nothing, not giving any more than maybe a half an inch on each side, this team really grinds you down, and they really get through it. And everyone knows that a bullpen, most bullpens in college baseball, is where you get to teams because every single college baseball team has at least one starter who can probably have a deal fest against you. It's the guy behind him and the guy behind him. And if they use those two guys the first night, it's the third and fourth guy. And that's what Oregon State's mindset has been for a long time under Canham is let's try to get to the next guy. If we can attack this guy currently, let's do it. But if you can wait him out, be patient, make the pitch count work up, see some pitches, time it up just for the next time and the next time after that. It's a very professional approach for sure. The flip side of that is, dude, Florida State's got two guys, Jamie Arnold and Joey Vellini. Okay. The bad news is they're very good. Okay. Like, these guys are incredible. Jamie Arnold can like spin it. He's a top prospect kind of guy. And he can get into a groove and he can really deal. And there's also Vellini. Those guys combined, 37 strikeouts, just 7 walks, and 27 regional innings. Is that
Good.
good?
That's good.
Is that good? That's good. The good news, they're both left-handed. The
Thank you,
Beavers hit,
Jesus.
what was it? It was 10 or 11 homers in that regional against left-handed
I
pitching.
think it was 11.
What shocked me was USC kept going to left-handed pitching.
Yeah, what are you doing?
It's like, can you not read the room? Like the boys are mashing lefties because it's a right-handed heavy lineup, and if everybody's going like the way they're going, it's going to be really hard to get those guys out consistently. And that was crazy, man. Just to absolutely mash left-handed pitching makes me feel really good for this matchup, and just the fact that the two stadiums are 2,871 miles apart, that makes me feel good too. I mean, this approach, if they go with this approach, they just cannot let Arnold get into an easy, just I'm going to pound the zone, get you 0-1 every single time. They can't let that happen in game one. They cannot dig themselves in a hole and just let him go 7 innings with nothing. I think the boys are going to be ready to go, man. If they keep this swagger, they keep this confidence going in for Friday night, good things will happen. I want to know your predictions for the Super Regional. How do you feel this one goes out?
I'm hard pressed to pick against the Beavs right now. Now, if you would have asked me a week ago if Oregon State was going to make it to the Supers, I would be like, "Oh, great! Like that's awesome! Like, sweet." Do they get past that? Probably not. But here we are. We're talking a whole different ball game essentially, and we talk about this lineup. I played baseball for many years, many years, and as a pitcher when you see a lineup, you're trying to pick that lineup apart. You're trying to see where you need to get out of trouble, right? If it's getting past the three spot, the four spot, and then you know you're a little more safe getting into the bottom half of that lineup, you're not going to do that against this Oregon State team. This team will rip you and tear you apart, and it's just not going to happen. And we talk about left-handed pitchers, the success they had during the regional with that. This just seems like the perfect setup for this Oregon State team that seems just incredibly hot right now. Talk about them outscoring their opponents 52-6. Like that's wild. That's insane. I okay, keep it coming. Like we're just gonna keep mashing it. And then you talk about the pitching. It was great. You had, James, Eric, and Palmer, they all looked great. This,
The creme of the creamer, man.
you just if you get this Oregon State team that we saw the last few days, I have a hard time picking against them in Omaha also. Like you just as that crappy 8 seed, they're just gonna go do the dang thing. So I think we talk about getting off on the right foot. This game Friday night is massive. I know you're coming off crazy regional. You're feeling pretty high and proud of yourself right now, but Mitch has got to get the boys level headed because you do not want to come down in this series and go down 0-1. Granted, you have Goss to support you the rest of the series, and that's huge. It's not like you're going down and playing, in Florida State, but you got to come out. You have to be a tone setter for this series. If you come out and you put your money where your mouth is, this might be over after game one. Like you're just gonna go out there and sweep them. Is that gonna happen? I don't know. This team seems like they're going at a consistent rate right now, but you just don't know, and it's completely dependent on how Mitch coaches this baseball game this Friday night. So I have Oregon State winning this series. I want to take it in a sweep. I just don't know if I have the cojones to say that right now.
Yeah. No, I honestly I feel the same way, and I feel like you give a baseball team who's hot a handful of days off. Is that really ever good for the bats? History tells me no. Um, but again, like these guys are playing so well, they're seeing it so well right now. I don't know if the days off are really gonna set them back that far because when you're this hot, you're just that hot, and they're used to taking gaps like this during the regular season too. So it shouldn't be a shock to them at all for this. I do think Jamie Arnold is going to pose a lot of issues for this team. Again, they probably have not seen a starting pitcher of this caliber all season, which I know USC had a couple of guys who threw 94, 95. So that's good to see some higher velocity because, quite frankly, when you're facing, the Cal State Northridges and some of the WCC programs, and then you're facing some of the bottom tier Big Ten programs, you don't see a lot of guys who throw mid to high 90s on those squads. So at least the Beavers did see some velocity against USC, which was it's a good little practice here and prep for Florida State. Friday, 3 o'clock, ESPN2. The Beavers do their best work when they have their backs against the wall. I think it's Beavers in three. They lose game one. They come back and win game two and game three in classic Oregon State fashion. Will I take a sweep to kind of avenge last season against Kentucky? Yes, absolutely. I would love to win this thing in two and ride off into Omaha for the first time in the Mitch Canham era. That would be that would be poetic, and I think it'd be a really, really great pick me up for this fan base after such an odd year of just kind of roaming freely in the Pac 2 independent. What's our future in the Pac 12 world? So this is a very important weekend for Beaver sports and this Beaver fan base. It's a matter of because Oregon State baseball has always been there during the tough days, even during the good Mike Riley football days, and then during the tough Gary Anderson days, Oregon State baseball has been there. They've been consistent, they've been very competitive and good. I think the best part, if they make Omaha in the first year ever being independent in baseball, it's like everyone in Beaver Nation can just take a fat, they can probably already do it, but just a fat, deep breath and just exhale and be like, baseball still got us, dude. Like, no matter what we're going through with the conference shit, we still got baseball. And give me Beavs in three. I'll take two, whatever. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter. I don't think anybody's beating this team currently. When they go to Omaha, that could be a different formula, it could be a different circumstance, situation, whatever the case is. The first time going to Omaha in 7 years can kind of jolt the team, and maybe they get a little stage fright. But just getting there this year would be incredible for this baseball program and this fan base. 1,000%.
Yeah, I agree. I We're gonna transition here into football. Okay, we'll talk football for our listeners that want us to talk football because
Hell yeah, football.
yeah, football. But talking, and I didn't even realize this, but just the consistency of this Oregon State baseball program, like the last few years for the football program it's been crap. It's been
Weird.
tough. This fan base has probably been at its lowest that it's ever been. But it's nice to make that bend and turn the corner and have that pick me up, have that consistency of like, man, we still got baseball to look down on. Basketball, sure, maybe
The
not.
women, the women for sure.
Women, yeah, we have an Oregon State bass team, and we'll talk about that later on. Come on, boys and girls. But yeah, in all seriousness, Friday's huge. First game of the Super Regionals is huge for anybody, but when you're talking about an Oregon State team that didn't have a conference, they went independent and kind of have that feeling that it's us versus the world right now. And them having that mentality is probably the most dangerous thing to get them into Omaha and hopefully to have a very successful Omaha also.
And it sucks because like I really anticipated last year's team to make it to Omaha, and they fall short in the Super Regional against Kentucky. I made it out to Omaha. It was really fun to be there, even without Oregon State. I met up with Timmy Hernandez, who's a friend of the program. He's been on the show before, and we had a good time in Omaha. And dude, if they win, if they go to, my buddy's already going. I might find a way if it's possible.
Robbie.
But dude, and dude, guess what? Have a wedding to go to in
No, you
July.
don't. You don't
Yes, I
anymore.
do. It's my
No,
best
it's
friend
done.
since fourth grade.
All
That's
right.
the one wedding I probably can't miss. And
No, you can.
my current job, doesn't have a ton of PTO. You kind of have to accrue it. It's a stupid, system.
So, how do we start a GoFundMe for Rob?
I mean, I could probably afford it. That's the thing, but I would probably have to find somewhere further away to stay because the hotels in Omaha are been booked for months and months and months. So, well, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay,
No,
I would like to speak it into existence, but do not want to get ahead of myself. But it's a possibility. Because it'd be so much better if your team is there. Because Omaha as a whole is just so amazing as a city, and
hold on,
that
hold on. Whitney, what are the chances of us going to Omaha if Oregon State makes it? Oh, she can't hear me all of a sudden. So we have a
oh
0%
we
chance.
have a hard of
We're
hearing
cooked.
situation.
Rob, you're our only hope.
Well, should I take one for the team?
I think you should.
Mm.
I'm sure you can watch that wedding virtually.
Nah, I mean it's in July. It wouldn't be like going over, and I wouldn't have to burn one or the other. It's a matter of my PTO. So, but that's again not getting ahead of myself,
What
not
if
even
all of
thinking
our
about it.
fans flood your boss's email?
That'd be great. I mean, I got bullied into going to Baton Rouge 2 years ago when they made the Baton Rouge LSU regional, and I drove all the way there with my girlfriend, and we saw 0 innings of baseball because of the lightning delay,
Zero
and we
lightning
drove
delay.
all the way back listening to them lose and get eliminated on the radio.
That's
So that
fun.
was
It's
that was a,
fun.
was a great trip, and weather was tremendous. It was a super great time. But Omaha, different, different. All right, man. Before we get to football, this podcast is brought to you by the Hannah Grace Family Foundation. Is there anything going on that you'd like to tell the people about, Josh?
We just wrapped up our second annual Teed Up for HDF event. Um, I would like to thank everybody that participated in that. I would like to thank my friends and family because we ended up winning it. Shot a -6. So just doing the Lord's work, going out there winning golf tournaments, supporting children and families in need. So um nothing right now. I'm sure we'll have some fundraisers coming up here in the near future, but on the backside of that craziness,
How's your golf swing, man? How you feeling right now?
I have never felt better. I've been getting adjustments for the last 6 months that have made me a lot more flexible, which have fixed some of my golf swing problems. So this car accident has done many things for me. It sucked my life away the last 6 months, but it has also allowed me to feel like I'm a little bit better at golf. So
Whatever you can take as a positive from a car accident, I mean, we should
yeah,
just take that and run, you know?
yeah.
It feels good. Yeah, dude, I'm golfing on Saturday morning, and I'm hoping I am in very, very good spirits after a Friday night win. So, yeah,
What are you
man.
shooting on Saturday?
Dude, if I can break 100 for the first time in my life, that'd be incredible. I came close a couple weeks ago. I had a real because the range sorry, the course that we go to in Austin typically is on the east side. It's kind of a rougher course. It shares land with Austin Community College, so it's a cheaper course. It's nice though. It's not bad, but they don't have a range, so there's like really nowhere to warm up. So you kind of just go into it blind, essentially. And like your first swing of the day on the tee box, first tee box is just like this is going to be my worst ball of the day, hopefully,
Yeah, for sure.
and you lose the ball, like because my slice is just terrible. It runs in my family. But the back nine, I really from hole 8 to 16, I was pretty locked in. So I mean, I think there was a stretch there where I played 5 holes and I was one under,
Oh, dang,
and
Rob.
that's really never happened for my golf game, and yeah, so I'm feeling good about my swing right now, man. And I'm also we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm calling my music career quits, and that means more time for golf. There's trade-offs in all of this thing. So.
Listen, it's golf season. There's just no time for
Amen.
anything else, unfortunately.
Especially where you are, man, because it's lighter, longer, it's cooler as well, dude. In Texas, you have to golf in the morning or you're going to die.
It's 8:40 right now, and I could still be golfing out. That's how light it is.
That's how beautiful about the Northwest, man. And in Texas, like you can do some evening golf, but like the problem with it doesn't cool down at night. So if it's 98 during the day, it's gonna be 97 at night, and you're like, well, I'm still sweating over here, and I can't really find my ball. It's kind of dark, so I'm gonna call it a day. But hey, man, on to football. Let's talk a little football. It's June. We still have fall camp, and in the next handful of weeks coming up, so we're still a little bit of ways away from getting really amped up and excited for football season.
Malik Murphy.
Malik Murphy is a beef, bro, and
Malik Murphy.
dude, do you know how great it's been to have a quarterback who is just so personable and he can speak to the public. And I'm not trying to hate on anybody from the past, but like we've just had some kind of dorky, shy, and just to themselves kind of guys. We haven't really had that like outgoing, like, yo, I'm the quarterback, let's go kind of guy, like Malik is that dude, bro. And he's been great with the mic'd up stuff. He took the mic when he first got onto campus at Gill and like said what's up to everybody. So it seems like he's comfortable who he is and he's a good speaker. He seems like a great teammate already. I know the guys at Texas and at Duke just like rave about him. He's like such a good kid. And that's such a great thing to hear that he came to Oregon State because I know there was a lot of schools hitting on his line, man, and he stuck to his guns. And this is why being a Beav is so great because when a guy chooses you, it just feels like that's a good fit for you, man. Like every single time. Like when DJ came, you're like, yeah, dude, this is a good fit for DJ. And the same thing with Malik. You're like, yeah, this is a great fit. It makes sense for you, buddy. And I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for Malik Murphy, dude. What else can you say about the kid? I mean, it's been a short lived, obviously. He's only had a spring game to show, but like, what are your thoughts on Malik Murphy so far as a beef?
It I feel like the last couple years with football and everything that's happened to this program, trying to find the positives in it is very slim. You're picking through a pile of trashes to get there. DJ was positive. So thankful for his service. Found out real quick probably wasn't the best quarterback to walk through Oregon State. Um, but here's a guy, okay, Malik Murphy. Beavs tried to go hard at him before, right? And when this was all happening, when we found out months ago that Malik was coming to Oregon State, I remember specifically tweeting, "You don't let that man leave campus. He's you. I don't care what you do to him. He's staying in Corvallis.
Time to a
You don't.
tree.
I don't care. That's fine. I don't care what you do to him. You pull out every NIL dollar you have, 75 cents, whatever it is, and you feed it to him. Okay?
Spare change.
Because that's Oregon State. NIL, holy smokes, that's about as good as it gets. Is me stuttering right there.
NL National Letter of Intent, name, image, and likeness. What else do you want?
Good grief. But back to Malik. This guy's a stud. Saw it at Duke. Dude's shattering records at Duke. Saw it at Texas. Now, question is, Oregon State has a funky freaking schedule this year, and it is put you to sleep. Very sucky schedule at the beginning of the season. Malik's got the unique ability to be that quarterback I think Oregon State's needed the past couple of years. DJ could run a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Was it wasn't the most exciting runner, like, but he could go out there and do it when it needs to be done, right? I think that's what Malik brings to the table. That's going to be a little different. I don't. He's not afraid to run. He's gonna go and he's
Yeah.
gonna do what he needs to do to pick up that first down. But the dude's got an arm too. He can sling it. When we talk about all around quarterbacks, Rob, this over the last few years might be the most all around quarterback that Oregon State's had. And the question is he going to, how fast can he get into this system? And is Gunderson going to run a system that is capable of him being successful? Because I still have questions about our friend Ryan Gunderson. I have high concerns still. Rob's shaking his finger. I'm
Waving the
sure
finger.
a lot of people might be nodding yes right now, but
I'm doing my Josh.
it all comes down to, does Gunderson allow Malik to be successful like he can be and call a game that allows him to be successful?
This is what I'm telling myself. Because last year was Giovanni McCoy and a lot of Giovanni McCoy. You mentioned Malik, not really a runner. Giovanni was the runner, and Giovanni couldn't throw the ball very well. And then we had a little bit of Jabari Johnson. Then we had Ben Branson. Okay, that quarterback room last year is just a lot of like I don't know what to do with either guy or
Yeah.
any of these guys. I don't know what to do. Jabari last year was purely just a runner, and he clearly was not ready to sit back in a pocket and go through progressions. Okay, he's out. Giovanni McCoy has had a lot more playing time, and he's a better runner, gives you a better athlete dynamic at the quarterback position. Okay, okay. Well, we can do design runs for Giovanni, but like, yeah, his deep ball is not that great, and his accuracy at times, throwing from far hash to sideline, is really an issue. And that was on Gunderson for always kind of calling those kind of plays. The interception against Nevada, the interception against Cal. It's just there's certain moments where you're like, know your team better, know your guys better, know their strengths a little bit better. And then when Go Branson came in, the Washington State game and the half of the Boise State game was fine. With Malik Murphy, man, I think Gunderson can finally just, I give you the reins. I trust you completely. Let's go. Here's my full arsenal. Let's go. And that's what I am telling myself. He is not going to hold back because so and so can't throw this one, but he can run. Oh, this one can throw a little bit, but he definitely can't run. This one only runs. And it's like, okay, you still have Jabari Johnson, which, dude, shout out to Ryan Harlan and all of our guys who cover the Beavs, Beaver's Edge, all those guys who are students as well, and they just graduated. Congratulations. They have been speaking very highly about Jabari Johnson and his development from year one at Oregon State to year two, and he's coming on nicely. And I still think he's going to be a very good option out of the backfield to run. Maybe we see a two quarterback formation where you can run a little trick play. You can start it with Jabari. he can roll out. You fling it back to Malik, or you start it with Malik the other way, and then Jabari can run. There's a lot of options there because Jabari is he's such a good athlete, and you're gonna have Hankerson back there as well, dude. Like, there's so much to look forward to. My worries. You mentioned Coach Gunderson as kind of a worry. My worry is just the line of scrimmage in general. The offensive line lost quite a bit. There's a lot of talent that they lost from last season. And dude, it was still a good offensive line, even with a poor season overall. They still have a 1,000-yard rusher in Anthony Hankerson. The defensive line obviously was not productive at all last season. They didn't do squat.
Garbage.
They were really bad. Probably the worst group in my life at Oregon State on the defensive line.
Thankfully, they
And
had a lot of sacks last year, though,
yeah, no, they definitely made up for it with
for sure.
two. So yeah, for the offensive line, dude, and Coach Cav, thank you for coming back, man, because that dude is truly just like it feels like when you see him in Beaver gear again, you're like, yeah, dude, this looks right. When you saw him in the bright green Oregon Duck stuff, you're like, God, this looks wrong. Okay, you look bad in this. Short, fat, bald guys don't look good in that green and yellow. Okay. And he comes back to Oregon State. He gets to rock the tiny little logos in the black. You're like, dude, you look so much better. And I trust him fully to develop a good offensive line, especially in fall camp. I fully have a huge entrustment in him to take over Devan's spot and just go, keep rolling. He's a better coach than Devan at the college level. There's no disputing that at all. The other side of the thing is defensive line. Coach Tawaki. If you've listened to this podcast, you know I am not a fan of him. I think anywhere he has gone, he can turn gold into shit. And he had an issue at BYU. They ran him out of there. He's been to Oregon State before. We've talked about this a handful of times. He's still in the defensive line, and it, when you see that lack of productivity, and they really didn't add a whole lot to that defensive line, so they're kind of banking on guys to just develop. And you're like, all right, well, I guess we got a Nico Taylor back because he got his eligibility through the JUCO thing, so he can come back. I mean, yeah, he's okay. You know, there's a lot of guys who are just kind of like, yeah, he's okay, but like he didn't really he didn't put up any numbers. He didn't get a lot of tackles last year. So where are we going to see that production? Like, where's it coming from? They're going to have to show it, obviously, and there's a lot of opportunities for this team to have massive games against some lesser opponents, and then there's some opportunities where hey boys, this isn't Lafayette. We got to go to Lubbock or we got to go to Eugene. Okay, like it's a completely just up in the air schedule. It is just so odd, and I still see people being like, "Wait, why is Wazoo on there twice?"
Why is Wazoo on there twice?
Hey
I,
man, it's 2025.
next year, are we just gonna play doubles of everybody? Good God,
Maybe
man.
if we can't find that eighth member, I mean, shoot.
So here, you noted that the win total set at 6.5 games this year.
Yeah,
Looking at
does
the
that feel low?
schedule, it seems a little low to me, but when we look at back at last year's defensive woes and seeing that there's no improvement essentially. Now, I hope I'm completely wrong, but I hope you're wrong too. But just assuming all of this rolls over into this year, right? Offensively, do they have the firepower to play from behind the whole time?
Maybe.
Yes, maybe. Can Malik will them enough in some games to get it done? And we have the schedule right here. And first of all, let's talk about EA Sports real quick because they did our boy Malik dirty. Okay.
Dude, yeah, God, thank you for
And
bringing
this
this
new
up.
college football trailer,
I was
what
gonna
is going
ask. I was
on?
gonna ask how you felt about the game coming out, but dude, that trailer does this so dirty. It makes they're like Taz Reddick's can't hear, and then like Malik's just back there doing whatever. I'm like, this would never happen in a real college football game. Like you don't
Bro,
yell at receivers in a hostile environment like Autzen Stadium. You go over there and you give them a signal. Like the
yeah,
video game has
it's
never figured that out apparently. And they just make us look bad. And then there's a pick, and he's getting hit by Ui Ungalale. Of course, of all guys, he gets hit by Mateo Ui Ungalale. And yeah, he throws a pick in that trailer.
that's not gonna happen. Let's be honest. And
I
he may
hope
throw
it doesn't.
pigs. He
I
may
mean,
throw pigs. But I mean, I don't. I hope that's not
not in
foreshadowing. But
that
holy
game. Yeah.
smokes,
Oh, geez.
um, but you gotta when there's a will, you gotta find a way, right? And looking at the schedule, how? Let's just go through this real quick. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah. Cal has, they lost way too much talent in the portal. Yes.
Okay. Fresno State.
Yes, it's at home.
Yes. Houston.
Yes, at home.
Yes. Yes, I'm saying yes to agree with you. Wake
These are
Forest.
just the ones that you're looking are just home games too, by
Just
the way.
home games, correct.
Yeah.
Wake Forest. Is that a yes?
Jake Dickert's coming back to Corvallis. We have to give them an ass whooping. Yes.
Yes. Lafayette.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes. Washington State.
At home, yes.
Yes. Sam Houston.
I would hope that you beat the living hell out of Sam Houston
If we
State
lose to Sam Houston, we are screwed, boys. And then Washington State again.
at Wazoo. That one, it's the last game of the year. Gonna be cold probably. Wazoo, a lot of unknowns with Wazoo this year. I think just because it's the second time playing them, you have to go to their house. Oregon State has not won there since 2013. I would say no for that
You're
at
gonna say
Wazoo
you
game.
say no at Wazoo,
Yeah, I think they
even
lose
with a
that
new
one.
coaching staff.
I think it's just going to be Pullman gets us again kind of situation. I
Okay.
need to see us win before I can pick us there ever again.
Okay, so that's 8 games right there, and we'll say that they've
They've
seven
won
and one
seven,
through.
and you're missing. So we got to go to Texas Tech.
Yeah,
That's the third game of the year.
brutal,
That's a loss, dude. It's going to be hot as hell there.
brutal.
It's and they got a good roster. It's Texas Tech though. Like that probably still falls short at the end of the year, but to go Cal Fresno State at Tech, that's not like the worst opening schedule in the world. It's not like Tech. I think they Texas Tech opens with I think Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then Kent State, who was I think winless last year, maybe had one win, and then they play us. We're gonna feel like the '85 Bears to them after playing those two schools. So Texas Tech will roll their first two games. They'll probably win by a combined score of like 98-14, and then they'll face us, and it's gonna be their first test, and it's I think it's already being announced that it's like a 2:30 local kick, and it's going to be on Fox. So, dude, by the
Clutch.
by the middle of the fourth quarter, it's going to be blistering hot, and that wind blowing in Lubbock, if it's blowing from the west, which it always does, the town smells like cow manure. So,
Boys are
and
used to it.
hopefully, we got a couple of Texas boys on the roster, so I
So
hope
we're
the
we're
boys are.
chalking up Texas Tech no matter what as a loss.
I think so. Yeah, I just don't think the Beavers don't travel into other time zones well, and it's just been a history of this football program. It's if they
But
win this game, that'd be incredible.
you got Malik Murphy, bro.
I know, and that's what I'm kind of banking on. Like, I hope like the first two games, if we do have any issues on the line of scrimmage on either side, like they can try to like figure it out against
Get it
Cal and
figured out.
Fresno State. But like, if you're gonna go into Texas Tech, you need to score a lot of points. That's just how they always have been. They try to hang their hat on like, no, it's a new. Every time they have a new coach, it's always like, no, new era of Texas Tech football. We're gonna try to play defense now. Like, no, you got to score points in Lubbock. That's just how it always is.
So
And
here's a question for you, real quick.
yeah,
If you had to take a split a win loss with Texas Tech and Oregon, are we thinking the same thing here? Like we want to beat Oregon and just take the L to Texas Tech, or are we
yeah,
just
1,000%.
okay?
But a little part of me does want to just win the Texas Tech game, just because it'd be such a nice like we went to a different time zone. It was hot, and Texas Tech has all this hype this year. Like a ton of people are picking them to win the Big 12, and it'd be cool to go on the road and win that game. And I mean,
Do you have the full schedule up?
yes, I do.
So who's their first game?
Who is Tech's first game?
No, or Beavs. Is it
Cal.
Cal? Cal.
Yeah,
So
night
we're
game.
we're taking a dub there. 7:30. Too many 7:30 kickoffs, by the way. That's annoying
Yeah, I got to be
for
on TV.
for you, but I understand why they're doing it. Yes. Okay, so Cal, we'll just go through the whole thing real quick. Cal dub. So
Yes,
1-0, and then
Fresno State
dub.
to 12:30 kick in Corvallis.
You assume you're 2-0 heading into Texas Tech,
You need to
right?
be. I mean, you absolutely have to be. And
Yeah.
then I'm just gonna at Tech loss at Oregon loss. I think they lose both games.
Okay. If you beat Texas Tech, you're 3-0 going into Oregon, right?
You might have game day in for the Civil War
That's
if
what
that's the
that's what
case.
I'm trying to ask. Like,
Yeah,
are you getting game day that early for
probably.
a team, an Oregon State team that's doesn't have a conference?
Yeah, I think so. I think they would go to Eugene. If the game was in Corvallis, they would not go. But like you look at Oregon's opening schedule, they go Montana State, okay, and they go Oklahoma State.
Shout out to Montana State
Yeah,
boys.
baby. Touchdown Tommy is a Raider. Uh, Oklahoma State at home. It's a 12:30 kick as well. Okay, and then they go at Northwestern. They still don't have a stadium, so Oregon's also going to be 3-0 more than likely. So, hey man, I think if you win the Texas Tech game somehow, some way, which by the way I'm going to. So if you are going to that game, please link up with me. I'll be driving out there from Austin. I just don't see a world where Oregon State even wins either of these games. I would love to see them win one of them. Obviously, more so the Oregon game, but I just don't see a world where they win that game. But then they come back home after Oregon Friday night against Houston, 7:30 kick again.
You could potentially be 2-0 at 2-2 at that point.
Correct. That's what I think they'll be. They'll be 2-2 with a massive short week to kind of just okay. We had two really tough road game opponents. Got to come back home on a short week and play another Big 12 opponent.
So that could be a turning point in the season right there.
This is absolutely if you start 2-2, this is 100% the turning point in the season.
It's too early, man. That's too much pressure. I'm starting to sweat already.
Yeah, it's June 4th, and I'm already worried about Friday, September 26th. But I think they should beat Houston. Houston's not a team that I worry about. I think Oregon State can match up with them talent wise. They
But
could
that's the
probably
problem
pose
is
some
these teams that
issues.
we shouldn't be worried about. This Oregon State team tends to play down
Yeah,
to that level, right? Or Oregon, yeah, we'll take the L. Okay, we'll chalk it up right now. They're going to probably slaughter us in Eugene. I
yeah.
would, especially
But
if we beat Texas
here's the
Tech.
thing though
But
about
here's the,
okay, go ahead.
it, it's Oregon, Oregon State. It's
Wow.
it's the game. Like it's funny that going back, hopping back to the EA thing real quick is all these Oregon fans saying, "Oh, we're not their rival anymore." Well, I'll tell you right now, EA Sports thinks that you guys are still a rival, so
Hmm.
you can do whatever you want to do with that. But
Yeah.
I've seen crazy things happen. We've seen it, Rob. Like that is that the game that Bray and the staff have circled? Like, let's go down there and beat some ass.
Well, I think because like last year we went into that civil war in Corvallis thinking like, hey, maybe the Beavers aren't so bad. It was early in the season. Oregon was kind of scuffling. They hadn't lost yet, but like Boise State gave them a huge scare in Eugene. And it was kind of like, all right, maybe the Beavers have a shot. You never know. And then that game quickly just turned on its side, and you're like, oh, there is a large talent gap between these two squads,
And that
and
was the turning point for Oregon season also. That was what propelled that craziness.
100%. They won't admit it, but that was absolutely the point where they took off and ran
Yeah.
because they realized, oh, we got a squad, we can go, and that's when also I think Oregon State realized we ain't very good,
It's not
and
close.
yeah, and it wasn't even close in that second half. You're right, dude. It was like watching someone die. I think the staff last year obviously has that game circled as like, let's go make a statement. We're still Oregon State. We're still a power program, blah, 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 blah. And then they came out and just flat on their face. And I think this year, the team is going to have a little bit more talent. Are they going to close that gap enough to beat them on the road for the first time since 2007 in Autzen Stadium? No. I just don't think that's possible in 1 year of a turn in a situation that we're in after 1 year for a new head coach, and then also he has to kind of reshift his coaching staff again, and now he's also the defensive coordinator. I think there's again, I think that's just too much of a talent gap between the two programs. Even with the questionable Oregon stuff at quarterback, is it going to be Dante Moore? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. I still think Oregon State went into Eugene a handful of years ago when Anthony Brown was their quarterback, and he had like the game of his life. So it's like it doesn't really matter who plays quarterback for Oregon. Like it just feels like when we're in Autzen Stadium, it hasn't been good historically, and it's been a lot of tough days there for Oregon State football. So coming off of a tough Texas Tech game and a tough Oregon game, Houston at home on a Friday night is a must-win game. It's kind of like last season again. Oh, Oregon kicked the hell out of us. We got to have Purdue now. And it's like, we did enough against Purdue to win the game, but there's definitely some issues in that Purdue game that just reared its ugly head over and over and over again with the rush defense. Houston has to be a win because you have to get a Big 12 win. Because if you get the Cal win, you have an ACC win. And then if you get the Houston win, you have a Big 12 win. That can help massively. The next one is at App State. You got to go all the way to Boone, North Carolina, across the entire country, dude. This game gives me the exact same feel as I looked at the Nevada game last year. I'm like, absolutely no way you should go in there and lose, but somehow, some way, you're going to find a way to do it. And like, I get the same feeling. Is Appalachian State going to be good this season? I have no idea. I couldn't even name a single player on that team. I
Yeah,
don't even know who coaches them. But it's just the fact that the Beavers have to go to an Eastern time zone and play a road game.
it's trouble.
And
It's
we're in
scary.
October and we're playing
Yeah.
Appalachian State. What the hell are
Yeah.
we doing?
Welcome to Oregon State football. Here we go.
I
Buckle
know,
up,
man.
boys. It's going to
I
be a
know.
bumpy ride again.
Just looking at the schedule again, it's just going back and forth. I'm like, what this is the craziest schedule I think I've ever seen in my life. So it's at App State. I think somehow they can scratch and claw their way because they have a good running back in Anthony Hankerson to kind of rely on, and they have a veteran quarterback who knows what he's doing. I think they win that game just because they get some better veteran presence to kind of ease the road game woes against lesser opponents. Come back home against Wake Forest, win. So at this point, we're 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, and then it's Lafayette 6-2 bowl eligible.
You're
Cool.
feeling pretty good right now. Yeah.
6-2, but like you still have those like well the two losses are like the good programs that you faced. So you're like well you're 6-2, but like probably not going to get any votes to go into the college football playoff. Probably not going to get any AP votes at that point just because like your wins aren't that impressive. Okay, then it's at home against Wazoo. A lot of question marks about this team. Whole new coaching staff, a lot of new players, and a lot of new players come from the FCS ranks. So we'll see how this team is. I have a feeling this Wazoo team is just going to be gritty and pesky and tough. They won't win a ton of games, but they're just going to play hard the entire time. Beavers win that game 7-2. Sam Houston State 8-2. At Tulsa, which is another game I could potentially go to. Okay, this one again have to go to the Central Time Zone on the road. Going to be weird. Tiny little stadium out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Golden Hurricane. Are you beating these guys? They're terrible.
I'm not going to say anything because I
You're like, what? What am I supposed to make out of this road schedule, dude? Like, oh, App State, what the hell? Oh,
it's
Tulsa, what?
trap game after trap
I
game
know.
after trap game.
It's crazy, man.
But they're assuming they go down and beat Tulsa, they're 9-2 at that point, right?
And then they go to Wazoo.
But you're assuming they probably are ranked 9-2,
Maybe like 25th, 24th, just because their wins aren't that
sneaking in
impressive.
because of the
Yeah,
strength of schedule and stuff. And then you got Wazoo on the road and you win. Let's say you
maybe.
win, you're 10-2.
And what bowl game do you go to as an independent team? It's just like
Rose
they still
Bowl?
are.
I
Are
don't
they
know.
still? Are they still like in 2025 into 2026? Are they still applying the old Pac-12 bowl games? Is that still part of that deal? I kind of forgot about that side of it because 2025 they technically were supposed, or 2024 they were
24, yeah.
supposed to do that. 25 are they still
I don't
doing
know.
that?
I mean, we still don't have a conference or a full conference yet, so
That's a song
who
for
knows?
in a couple of minutes. But this football schedule is just so hilariously odd, and I don't know. I think the as I look at the roster right now, there's a couple of guys that were lower in the depth chart, like Jack Kane, who ends up at Rice, Jeremiah Noga, who ends up at Wazoo, and then Bengal Branson is going to essentially do what Tristan Gebbia did when he went to Ohio State. Bengal Branson is going to Stanford. Ben might get some playing time there just because Stanford's football program right now is just kind of up in the air. I mean, Andrew Luck is running the show now down there. He fired Coach Taylor, so it's like, what's their plan here? They basically have an interim in Frank Reich, and it's just kind of like, all right, I guess you guys are just kind of doing your own thing. But Gulbranson down there, so that's gonna be
How old
interesting.
is Ben? Has he been playing football for like 12 years now?
34, I don't know.
Oh,
He,
oh
he's
God.
gonna double doctorate maybe. He's gonna probably try to coach in football, I would assume. If you're going to Stanford, that would be the obvious thinking for me to like learn from Andrew Luck. So yeah, I mean, maybe Ben becomes a scout in the NFL and like works his way up to become a general manager. I could definitely see him doing something
For
like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so there's a handful of guys that left, and that just means they're kind of trimming the fat on this roster. The coaching staff, Jack Kane, good kid, such a high energy kid. Was he the best football player? No. Jeremiah Noga, same thing, a lot of energy. Good special teams guy. Was he a good receiver? Not really. Same thing with Go Branson. He had some nice moments for us, but overall, not the best quarterback. So they're trimming the fat a little bit. And the team still does need like another camp arm, and because it's just pretty much been like Malik and Jabari and one other name that is escaping my mind. They have three quarterbacks right now, just kind of rolling with it. So I don't know what to make of it as of right now. I need a fall camp, obviously, to get a better gauge, which is the cop out answer. But I think it's going to be an interesting year. I do see a lot of wins just because of the strength of schedule is pretty weak. It might be a situation like Washington State last year, where you kind of get off on the right foot, you keep going. Maybe you run into an issue later on in the season, but I think you have a pretty good year and just kind of maybe 9 wins, hopefully 10. I think the floor is 8. So that 6.5 win total feels low for me for
Feels
sure.
low for sure. I agree. I was thinking nine's probably the ceiling, or
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just keep it at that. I,
9 is the living room, 10 is
yeah,
the ceiling, and
yeah,
8
yeah,
is your
yeah,
floor. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Early on, it's just again the road games. It's just miserable being an Oregon State fan and having to play football on the road because we know what's going to happen. We just know
A
it.
different team's going to show up when they wear the
Yeah,
white
it's
jersey,
just
dude. It's
not
just
the
so
same
funny.
team. We just need to can we wear the home jerseys on the road? Like, can we just
Make
do
them wear
something
black or
different?
something.
God dang. But yeah, another weird season for Oregon State football. Feel like maybe year two of Bray is going to start navigating the college football world, but you're going to find out really, really early on what this Oregon State football team's made of. What can Malik bring to the table and do for this team? Obviously, you got Hank the Tank back there that hopefully runs for 1,000+ yards again this year, hopefully. But again, I think the big question mark is what are you going to see on defense? Are you going to be chasing points the whole game? Are you going to go down and play Tulsa and win by a field goal? Like, what are you going to do? Like, there's just a lot of unknowns right now. And, we still got a good chunk of time before football season starts, thankfully. But
Hmm.
I, I I'll be interested to see what happens. I think one, finding out who the final member of this rebuilt Pac-12 team is going to
Dude, just
be.
announced Texas State already. Good
Texas
grief.
State, Texas Christian, I don't care who it is, man. Just give me somebody.
TCU would be incredible.
Give me somebody in Texas, please. Um,
UTSA, they're going to the super regional too. Get them in the con. We need some better baseball schools in this future conference, man. Come
yeah,
on.
but it's gonna be just another year of like just navigating this realm world that you just don't know. Like it's every week, it's just gonna be different, and you're gonna feel like if you go out and you win 10 games, like it's gonna be weird that sitting back looking at you possibly just being ranked like 25th or 24th, like, and it's just a hard reality of it. And I think
Mhm.
that's not going to sit well with a lot of Beaver fans. But when you sit here and go through the schedule like we did, like it's feels like it should be cake after cake after cake after cake, and you should weigh 800 pounds at the end of the season. But I don't know. I want to say I'm excited. I'm optimistic about this football team, and I know we'll record another pod as we get closer to football and start kind of digging deep into the nitty-gritty of, both sides of the football. But with what you got right now and kind of just looking at it, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and they you just hope they get answered quick at the beginning of the season.
It's going to be interesting, man. We have a long way to go before then. And I'm excited for the season. I always get excited around that June area, that June time, July time, where you start thinking about it. But it's going to be another weird year, like you mentioned. We're still in that kind of just, in between year of no conference to conference again. So in the end, like this football, like last year's football season, when you sit back and think about it, you're like, that football season like didn't really matter that much anyway.
Yeah.
Like we weren't playing for anything. There's no conference to play for. It's just like that's it. It felt like the Wazoo game at home was like the only thing we played for all year. And then this upcoming season, it's like, well, you got a better quarterback and a little bit of a better situation, hopefully on offense to kind of just round yourself out, be a good, productive, consistent machine this year. But it's like, okay, well, you're still playing like Lafayette and Sam Houston and Tulsa and App State. It's like this whole thing is just so weird. So even if they go out there and have a tough season and they only win like 6 or 7 games, it's like at least they're still playing football at this point because this conference thing, man, has just been so weird. And when you look at the schedule, like they absolutely should win at least 8 games. Like these are a bunch of gimme games. They need to have them. But it's part of Oregon State sports right now. It's weird. I'm sure it's a really weird time as an athlete for Oregon State going around without a conference when typically, growing up, you're just so used to the Pac-12, just everything Pac-12 all the time, and now it's just not there anymore. So I'm sure it's still very weird there, but I trust Trent Bray, man, especially when he's calling the defense again. I trust him with everything. And I hope they have a good year just for again the sake of Beaver Nation and the belief in football here and going forward. They need to have a very positive year and just get a ton of wins, man. Just rack them up at home and maybe shock the world. Try to beat one of Texas Tech or Oregon just to just to really get off on the right foot. But we've got a few months, so it's a wait and see thing for sure. But I'm excited and to kind of close this thing out, man, I really wanted to touch on. I'm sure a few of you have noticed that I don't have the Beavs tweets account anymore.
Moment of
I,
silence.
yeah, I called it quits. About what was it? Early in the baseball season, I just kind of got tired of it. I didn't mean for that page to get that many people to follow me, but it's been great too because I've met a lot of great friends through it, including Josh, my buddy Drew. I've met a lot of great Beaver fans through that thing. Shout out to Todd, the damn flag guy. All that because of that. Coach Canfield and Georgetown too. And called it quits because I was getting tired of the negativity. It's just I think Oregon State fan base has a hard time on Twitter sometimes. They like to attack each other a little too much. So it's been nice to just kind of step back and watch others attack each other. So yeah, man, you can still I'm still on Twitter. I still tweet quite a bit. I'm still in the group chat as many of the guys know, and it's at @RobD_94 and I still tweet pretty much the same things. It's just now on a smaller scale because I just don't have nearly as many people looking at those tweets. And that's how I want things, honestly, because
Wait.
your boy says some dumb things sometimes, and people just they take Twitter way too seriously, and it just got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm done. The same with my music career. My professional music career is also coming to an end. So, yeah, it's a crucial time in my life. I'm in my gonna be in my early 30s here coming up in July, and I'm like, you know what? I need to start growing up a little bit.
I didn't know that. This is breaking news to me also. So what's going on, Rob?
you know,
What's the
it's just
move behind that?
it's just time, brother. I always told myself in my 20s, because I'm 30 now, I always told myself in my 20s, I'm not going to be that dude in his 30s chasing his music dream. And I'm going to be 31 in July, and I'm like, I'm about to be that dude in his 30s chasing his music dream. So I got one more show in July with the guys that I normally play with, it's Thomas Babiak. We have a couple of songs out on all platforms. They've been out since February and they've done pretty well. One of them has, one of them hasn't, and it's been cool to see it grow a little bit. We kind of like got this thing off the ground, and it's a great group of guys we're playing with. Like, so much talent in the San Marcos area, dude. Again, add Texas State, but yeah, man, it's just time. And I'm playing another show with my buddy Vaughn. It's this thing called Chigger Fest. It's just this guy's backyard. It's like 100 yards of just grass, and he has an all-day music festival with like boutiques to go shop around at. And I played it last year. It's a blast. It's so cool. So doing that again this year. So I have two more shows as a professional, and then calling it quits. My
Just
last show,
done. Just done.
July 25th. We're opening for Mike Ryan at Buck's Backyard, and that'll be it for me. See you later. And I'll probably record some of the songs that we've done as a band at some point, but that's it. So yeah,
So
man.
from chasing music to chasing golf balls in the fairway
Chasing golf balls in the woods because I sliced it right.
huh?
So yeah, or just dropping a golf ball in the fairway, being like, "I'm gonna play from here."
That's I respect that. That's what those nitros are for, man.
Yeah, dude. I bought a bunch. I bought the cheap Walmart orange nitro balls, and I think I lost like four of those guys in the first like seven holes.
That's
And
trouble.
I was like, it's the balls for sure. So I switched
Oh
to the
yeah.
Bridgestones in my bag, and I started hitting the ball way better. I was like,
Of course you
it's
did.
the ball.
Yeah.
It's of course, you just change one thing in golf and it goes. Okay, you wrote down that you became a farmer and also Oregon State bass team? Question mark? Question mark? What is this about?
Listen, you were throwing out life news, so I was like, I have to find something to talk about. I can't just
Okay.
let Rob take all the life
Yeah,
news.
absolutely. Please share.
We got chickens. I'm a farmer now.
Let's go, dude. Fresh eggs.
Dude, price of eggs, everything. Like, am I making any money, losing money? I don't know. It's probably gonna break even at the end. It's probably more of a compulsion thing, but we got chickens, man. We got, I don't know, 7 or 8 chickens in our kitchen right now that are freaking huge. I need a
Let's
coop for them. I don't know where they're going in a
in
few
your
weeks.
kitchen?
Bro, raising these things have been the most wild thing ever. Like,
Well,
the
yeah, it's
kids
a
love
chicken.
it. The kids love it. Banks
Yeah.
loves it. Like, the chickens. Like, they get so hyped about it. But yeah, man, I wish I could show you my setup, but they're sitting. I have Whitney's parents. They went into the chicken business a few months ago, so we got their smaller coop that we're using for our bigger chickens, and then
Wow.
we have a clear tub sitting on our kitchen table that have chickens
That's
that are a little
incredible.
smaller. So
That's
yeah,
incredible.
I'm I'm full-fledged farmer now. I think I don't know if
Let's
that
go, dude. Josh the farmer, man. You're gonna
certifies
make
me
a
as a farmer, but I'm gonna I'm gonna become one real quick, I guess,
you're gonna
because
tear down your chicken coop and build a mini Goss stadium because if you build it,
Ayo,
he will
they will
come.
come. But yeah, it's been a wild experience with the chickens, man. My dog may or may not have already put two chickens in the ground, but that is a story for another day.
Hey
Rest
man,
in
chickens are
peace.
little a-holes, dude. Like if the dog did it, he probably did it for a reason. Okay.
They were defenseless. Okay, we'll just leave it
Okay.
at that.
Okay. Well, that's a little different then. That's abuse of power.
But what a transition. Did you know Oregon State has a bass team?
I didn't.
How wild is this? Now,
Are they good?
Rob, I don't know, they catch a nice bass.
Nice bass, dude.
I somehow stumbled across this on Instagram.
Is it
Okay.
like half the baseball team is on that too? Because I know they like to fish.
Probably. If you guys want to follow them on Instagram, it's at OSU Bass Fishing. Okay.
Let's go. I'm looking at right now.
Go give them a follow right now, please. These guys are awesome. Okay. I don't know if they need like the Nick Daschel of football to go out and cover these guys when they go out into these tournaments. And granted, I don't even know if they're in tournaments. I don't know if they're just posting selfies of them catching
Dude,
fish.
they got turkeys too. They're this is a
Bro,
squad, dude.
that is the most savage photo I've ever seen with these dudes posing with two turkeys in front of the Oregon State University sign.
It's awesome, dude. That's yeah, followed.
They
Easy.
get a lot of likes too, bro. We're talking like 1,800 likes. Like these guys, they're dudes.
Hell yeah, man. And they got
This is
they got some pretty cool gear, man. They got the Oregon State logo on there.
we got Kyle Kelly, we got Jude Field out there with the turkeys, man. Like, just do me a favor, go follow these guys. Like, this is
Yeah, dude. Dang. 1,836 likes. They have 2,346 followers, man. Dude, this is cool.
it's pretty sweet. Again, Oregon State just built different, man. If your college has a bass team, you at me and let me know. But I don't see it happening. I
Dude,
just
I'm gonna
don't.
need one of these Oregon State bass fishing team hats, dude.
Did
I'm
you
gonna
see
need
those
that
hats,
right.
bro?
I'm gonna need that
Dude,
right now.
the hats are sick.
What if I can message them and be like, yo, want to be a sponsor for Chainsaw Crew and can we get some hats?
I want their shirts too. Do you see their team shirts?
Yeah, dude, they're sweet.
Yeah, dude, those are I'm just sharing the love of this university with everybody. That's all I'm here for. Okay? That's all I got. That's my life. The last six
Chickens,
months.
chickens and bass fishing, dude.
Yeah, bro.
In golf, dude. What else could you ask for,
I
honestly?
can't.
In a super regional on the weekend? I mean, come on.
I'm living the dream right now, Rob. I,
Come on, dude.
I'm about to be 31 and I'm living the freaking dream.
As am I, brother. We're there. We're leaving. This is how we're living the dream the rest of the way. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And the Beavers are going to go 13 and 0, 14 and 0, 15 and 0, 16 and 0 in football one day. We're going to be just chopping it up, dude. Just living an absolute dream.
We might
I'm
be
gonna,
dead when that happens, but
yeah,
sure.
yeah, well, probably. Maybe in a new age of college football where some teams are still playing college football and some teams are not. But yeah, that's a song for another time. Hey, I want to close just a couple of things. The NFL draft obviously passed. No Bs were taken. Interesting, though, little tidbit for the folks who maybe not follow the NFL. Damian Martinez, former Oregon State Beaver who went to the Miami Hurricanes, was drafted in the seventh round back to the Pacific Northwest to the Seattle Seahawks. So that's going to be interesting. I know there's a lot of Beaver Seahawk fans, and he's a seventh round pick, so not the highest chance he makes the team, but if he does end up getting some play, it's like, how are you going to feel about that? So it's going to be interesting. Conference news, we talked about it, man. When the hell are we going to add this last team? It needs to happen quickly. It's got to happen soon. And I know they've been making strides, and then they kind of fall through. We get some news about like, oh, media deal is gonna okay, and okay, well, where's the eighth team, man? We got to get an eighth football school in here. At this point, man, Sacramento State, come on down. I am so desperate to just find an eighth school so we can just go from there, and then we can add a ninth and a tenth. But golly, man, the last thing I want to ask you, okay, 2024 and 2025 Civil War series, it has been horrible. It's been downright depressing, honestly. Beat them in nothing all year. Football, head in the dirt. Basketball, just very close, but tough loss. Okay. Baseball, we know what that happened. Softball, they killed us. There's just so much stuff that they're getting murdered at. And when they won four in a row in baseball, it was kind of like, oh no. But here we are. We're fine. But for specifically for football, do we continue the Civil War after this upcoming year?
I said no last year. Okay. I feel like knowing what's going to happen this year, I'm going to say no again. But just there's a little part of me that just wants to say yes, keep doing it. And I don't know if it's the sick person inside me that just wants to keep getting murdered every year by them or what, or if it's just Oregon and we've played them for so long, it's just like that's the one team on the schedule that I want to beat every year.
Yeah,
Is it going to happen every year? Probably
probably
not
not.
right now. So like I don't know if I can honestly answer that question. Like if you ask me after the Oregon game this year and when we lose by 89 points,
No.
probably yes, I will say no. Like I don't want to do it anymore. But you give me a few months to calm down and not be as heated, I'll say, yeah, let's keep doing it. So is there benefits and other things that come with playing Oregon? Maybe, I don't know. If obviously if you beat them, that's a big win right there, especially in a time where you need big time football wins right now. And you have Texas Tech and Oregon this year. Those are your two chances to go out and prove a point if you're going to prove a point to anybody. So I'll say I'll say yes right now for the sake of answering the question. I think it needs to continue. How do you feel about it?
Dude, I go back and forth on this all the time because of what you just said. It's just, yeah, because every time Oregon State does beat Oregon in football, it's pretty much been a season defining win.
Hmm.
You go back to 2020, the useless COVID year. It's like, I mean, we lined it up against them when we beat them. That was a season defining win. That wasn't even a good season. They won two games in that COVID shortened season.
Shout out to
And
Jamar Jefferson.
yeah, dude, what an underrated beef. And then 2022, the big comeback, that's a season defining win. They end up winning 10 games that year. So it's like when it does happen, you're like, it's still a very big deal, obviously, to beat them. But I think there needs, if they want to continue it, this is what I would want. Okay. Under one condition, if you can want to play this Civil War going forward, it has to be played in late November. You have to put the game where it belongs, when it belongs, and that's always around the Thanksgiving time. Okay. I know the Big Ten's probably going to say no to that. And if they do, and Oregon, if Oregon and Oregon State both pitch, hey, we'll continue it, but please, can we play in November? And the Big Ten says no, then okay, thanks, bye. Because I'm not doing this in September anymore, dude. It is so lame. I'm not, what do you mean? It's like 85 degrees out and we're playing the Civil War. Get out of town. We're not doing this, dude. We can play them in basketball and non-conference. That doesn't really bug me as much. And same with baseball. It's not the same because it's like, yeah, they have their seasons. That's when they're supposed to play anyway. But for football, dude, September, it's not the time for rivalries. It's not the time.
They'll never do it. And you want to know
No,
why? You want to know why they won't do it? It's because they don't want Oregon taking a stupid L at the end of the year that's going to
that
cost them something
too.
stupid.
Or they, for the Oregon fans that think we're so putrid and just do nothing absolutely all the time. They don't want like a cupcake at the end of the year to like ruin the strength of schedule like the SEC does when they add a extra FCS squad at the end of the year. I think that's what Oregon fans probably would argue against. So no, we don't want to play Oregon State in November. We'd rather play, Northwestern. So that's those are my 2 cents, and that's what I wanted to close on.
I
We've
agree.
spoken for almost like an hour and a half, man. This has been a good time. It's been nice coming back. If we win a super, do we do another one?
Probably have to, right?
I mean,
A
if
little
it's
mojo
yeah,
there.
good mojo for sure. And
Yeah,
then once they win the national championship, we'll do another one. And then I'll be streaking of the streets of Omaha once they do. I'm just kidding. Maybe.
I'm here for it.
I'm not kidding. Am I serious? The brick streets of Omaha are gonna feel my bare feet. No, it's too much of a visual. All right, man. Any last words?
No, man, I'm excited for this weekend. Obviously, there's lots to it, but I just want to end it with saying happy birthday to my beautiful wife. She turns a very young 31 on Saturday.
Heck
So
yeah.
shout out to Wit. Hopefully the Beavs, even though she doesn't care, hopefully they do something stupid for her this weekend. And that's it, man. It's been great catching up with you, seeing you, talking to you, talking
Yes,
Oregon
man.
State sports. So
You
I'll
too,
sign
man.
off like I always do, man. Go Beavs.
Absolutely. Good luck with those chickens, brother. Let's turn some Seminoles into some chickens, brother, and
Hey.
let's try to get a sweep and win it in three. But let's get a sweep too. Go Beavs. Thank you for listening. Tell your friends that we're back for the short time, and if we don't see you after a super, we'll see you for football season. But as always, go Beavs, and catch you next time.